You're listening to Mad Men Sports. You're sponsored by Black Button Distilling. To my left, the professor, Zach, and the king of hot takes, Diamond Dave. How you guys doing today?
Zach, welcome back.
Yeah, how you feeling, buddy?
I'm almost there. I'm still pretty much out of it, but I'm almost there. Pneumonia is not an easy thing to overcome, but here I am doing it for you guys.
Just glad it's pneumonia, not something else.
Yeah, I wish it was something else. Pneumonia is not easy.
Touche.
Dave, how you feeling, man?
I'm good, baby. I'm always good.
You did the Shamrock Shake, or the Shamrock Run,
I did the
right?
Shamrock Run, then had a Shamrock Shake to celebrate.
Are they out yet?
What?
Are they out yet?
Yeah, they are out, yes.
Oh.
They came out March 1st.
Yeah, you
Also, Wendy's has breakfast now. It's very good.
You were telling me you had a 3 strong miles in you today.
I did, and then I slowed down.
And that's okay. It's not a
I didn't
sprint.
quit. I still completed it.
Well, it's not like it's a race or anything, so you're good.
I'm just happy you had a good time.
My thighs are strong as ever, but you know what? I'm wearing shorts. It's gorgeous outside.
Oh my God, it was a beautiful day today. It was like 55 degrees.
Well, did it get up that high? That's good.
Yeah, I think so. And then we got an extra hour of sunlight too.
No
Can't
one
be
ever
mad.
asked you how you're doing, Jake. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Let's get into the Bills
Yeah.
news today.
Well, fuck. Jesus.
So there was a lot of news that came down the pipe this week. Dave would say it's not enough. I would say it's just plenty. You know, no news is good news sometimes in the off season. We did have, a parallel promotion, I would guess we call it, with Leslie Frazier picking up the assistant head coaching position. That's a good move. Love recognition to a guy that's definitely outperformed his duties the last 3 years. Dave, what do you think about that whole information?
I think it's well deserved. I think it locks him up. He's not going anywhere for a while. Obviously, it's harder for teams to take him because it's got to make a lateral move for that. He's not going anywhere. I think Dable is obviously not going anywhere for at least next. I think he's going to stay. I think it's important to have the coaching staff stay together. Leslie Frazier deserves this. He was a winning head coach when he coached the Vikings too. He was a playoff coach. So this is a good thing.
Yeah.
It rewards the guys that deserve to be rewarded.
You got a lot of high praise on Twitter as well. People like Tre'Davious White, Jordan Phillips, they were all singing high praises to Leslie Frazier, and that just kind of shows the impact that he has in this locker room.
Yeah, he's definitely a humble guy. I remember 2 years ago against the Chargers, he kind of had the playmaking abilities taken away from him mid-game by McDermott. I would be willing to bet that was a very bad halftime because, A, he got his playmaking abilities taken away, play calling abilities, and then also, Vontae Davis also left in the halftime of that game. So there's a lot going on. He never complained once. The beat of the drum still went on for the Buffalo Bills. They had a pretty good defense last year. The following year, they followed up with another even better performance. And, this is a young defense that's getting better, and it's good to have the continuity of Leslie Frazier there, a guy that has, played safety on one of the best teams ever, the 85 Bears. So,
A
85.
young defense, you say, huh?
yeah.
I think that'll lead us into our topic tonight, but I don't agree.
What do you mean Lorenzo Alexander's gone? Jerry Hughes is probably the oldest player on our defense.
We will talk about this on the topic.
I mean,
I'm
we're
not
talking
sure.
about it.
Well, let's talk about it right now. We don't have to talk about the topic. Well, why do you think they're not a young defense? Is it because
Our
they're
defensive
21-year-old
ends,
middle
which is what we
linebacker?
struggled with this year with pass rush. Jerry Hughes is at the older age of 30. Trent Murphy probably won't be here next year because he makes too much money. I don't know his age off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Other than that, our defensive ends are dwindling down. Sorry. Lorenzo Alexander is gone. He was the locker room leader. And obviously we have Trey White, Milano, Edmonds, the young guys, Oliver. Harrison Phillips. We do have those guys, but we need veteran leadership. But I think we need something kind of in between. We either have too young of guys or guys that are at the end of their career.
I mean, but you look at our defense.
I don't think we have anyone on the defense on the end of their career.
No,
I think Jerry Hughes.
I
still
would
got 2
argue
years
that
in
Jerry
him.
Hughes is probably at the tail end of his career.
I think he's got 2 years left in him.
I mean, you look at our whole defensive roster. A majority of those guys are on a rookie contract. So, I mean, for the continuity's sake of having a young defense, I would have to say we're young.
They've done nothing but pump defensive picks out in the last 2 years. I mean, since McDermott's got here, besides Josh Allen, they've drafted a first-round defensive player every season. And then followed it up with mid-level guys.
So
in the
going
draft.
into this season right now, you have Jerry Hughes,
Yeah, say
Trent
Jerry
Murphy,
Hughes again.
and Daryl Johnson. You have those guys. Daryl Johnson probably won't make the team. And
I disagree.
You have those two guys at defensive ends. We need to get younger at defensive end. And that's what I think in the first round the Bills should go defensive end.
Interesting.
Obviously, you guys don't agree.
There's plenty down box there, but the first round is definitely. I mean, they just got to stop touching the first round in defensive players. When are they going to start building up this offense?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen for a long time the Buffalo Bills prioritize the defense. It was nice to see last year that for once in a blue moon, we take guys like John Brown and Cole Beasley. So my biggest kind of gripe with the Bills over the past couple of years is, you're right, we're emphasizing defense too much. Yes, defense is important in the NFL, but you're not going to score any points with your defense, other than your
At least they
some
haven't. I mean, some defenses can. They haven't. What else came around the bend with Bills news? The king of hot takes, I swear to God. What else?
In our little group chat, Zach and I were arguing. What are you calling him? The professor?
The professor. He schools everybody, and that's fine.
Well, we looked up.
DJ Reader.
Didn't Rachel Bush say something this
No.
week controversial? And can you give me a recap
No.
of who Rachel Bush is?
So, all right, first off, Rachel Bush is the wife of Jordan Poyer. Absolute smoke show, in my
Is she on
opinion.
Instagram?
Yeah, she's on
I
everything.
know who she is.
But she had said something along the lines,
Why
and
is
this
she
was
famous?
her caboose.
Give me the stuff I want to hear.
So, no, it was blown out of proportion. People were like, oh, she's demanding that Jordan Poyer gets paid. No, I don't have the tweet up, but it was something along the lines of, I mean, he's going to expect the
It's gonna be
money
a
he
long
deserves. And that's that. Football is a business. But you see all these weird, stupid media outlets saying, oh, Rachel Bush is demanding that Jordan Poyer gets paid. That's BS. Here at Madman Sports, we're here to set the record straight. And
Why do
she
you
just
think
spoke
that's BS?
nonsense.
Just because she says it?
No, people were
Poyer does want that.
outlandishly saying that she's demanding things out of the Bills organization, and that wasn't the fact, based on the tweets that she tweeted.
So when Tom Brady was a free agent a couple years ago, Giselle was front and center saying he needs money, and it turned out to be true. So usually what he says in the bedroom usually comes out on real life. So maybe he does want more money. The question is, does he deserve more money?
I think Zach has some things to say about that.
Zach needs to wake up and talk, though.
I'm just taking in some of the takes. That's all. Apparently, there's bedroom involved, and Tom Brady got involved in this whole thing. Listen, Jordan Poyer is a very average safety for the Buffalo Bills. He's definitely outplayed his contract. I'm not going to be the first person to tell you that he is overpaid. He's definitely not overpaid. However, I've been saying for a couple months, maybe a season now, that Jordan Poyer is somewhat of a liability when it comes to coverage. I don't have the stats pulled up in front of me, but I think Jake could pull it up on Pro Football Focus or Pro Football Reference real quick. He could pull up the coverage stats for Jordan Poyer, and I'll tell you what, they're not great. I believe it's something like a 63% completion percentage against, and I believe that out of the 16 touchdowns pass against, or something along those lines for the Buffalo Bills this season, it's in the advanced passing stats. It'd be down lower. That he has 5 touchdowns against in the passing coverage. Here, let me see if I can find it for you real quick. Jake, what's your take real quick on the Poyer?
I think Jordan Poyer really shines in his rush defense. I think he struggles in coverage when we emphasize so much on Trey White being the vocal point of our defense and him being a lockdown corner. I think that we need some kind of, I wouldn't even say an upgrade position, because I mean, all around our defense is very solid. Do I want him to be making league best money at the safety position? Certainly not. I don't think that he is an elite safety in this league. Compatible, yes. Good, yes. But I don't think that he's elite. David, you're shaking your head.
All right, perfect. I got the stats, so this is perfect now. So, yeah, his completion percentage against is 69.4% against. That's not great. His passer rating thrown against is 117.8. You don't need a better. That's as good of a stat as you can get.
Gave up 5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
too.
and then he also allowed 5 touchdowns this past season on defense. That does not allow any touchdowns to begin with in the passing coverage. I believe it's 16 total. I could be lowballing that number as well. Right? But listen, I don't think Jordan Poyer is a stud. I think he's in a great system, a system that's almost foolproof for a safety of his caliber. I think he has earned his money. I don't think that he's overpaid. I'll continue to say that to get that point across. But however, I don't think that he's irreplaceable in this team. I definitely think you could find someone to eventually take over the position at safety, to maybe sit next to Micah Hyde, who maybe need to be evaluated next season as well. Because I do think that it comes to a point where you're going to need to stop putting so much emphasis on the defense for this team. I read this week also that they were interested in DJ Reader. I don't think that's something they should touch either. I don't think they should bring back Jordan Phillips. I feel like your defensive line has enough put into it that at this point, as an organization, you need to trust what you put there, or you need to completely reevaluate how you analyze the talent at that position, because you paid Trent Murphy a lot of money. You paid Star Lotulelei a lot of money. You're keeping Jerry Hughes around on a 2-year extension, and then you've also drafted Harrison Phillips along with Ed Oliver. You cannot keep pouring money into people like DJ Reader or bring in a guy like Jordan Phillips back in a deal that he might be asking too much money for, and I'm going to die on that cross. I would bring up a lot of stats to support the fact that you do not need to keep pouring assets in the defensive line and a team that is 31st or 26th in scoring on offense, because you have to start promoting the offense. And the fact that this is a scoring league, it's a passing league, you have to be better at that. And while Allen is in the top tier of quarterbacks that have scoring touchdowns, players in general at that point, but you have to get the whole offense to score. You cannot be bottom third in the league in points scored. That's got to be a difference. You got to have to turn the tide on that stat. I don't think adding defensive linemen or keep putting money into a safety such as Poyer, who has been average but has, shined in certain spots to make fans maybe more supportive, but when the stats are up, he doesn't look so great, does he, Dave?
I'm about to tear that ass apart. Jake, I'm about to throw your laptop out the window. I don't give a shit.
Who hates stats more
I don't
than
give a
Hot Take
shit
Dave?
about
Please
stats.
don't.
I'm sorry. He's the leader of this team.
He's got a
He's not the leader.
I-
You
Wait.
just said there isn't a leader of this team.
He's
He's
the
not
leader of
a
the
leader.
defense.
No, he's
When
not.
Lorenzo
No, he's not.
goes,
Not a
he's the
chance.
guy you need on
No.
this
Edmonds.
defense. I
Edmonds.
want every single player on this team to want more money. Why is that a bad thing? I don't care what his stats are. Our defensive backfield was
You should.
great this year. Maybe the
No, they
best
weren't.
defensive backfield in the league. You can't deny that it was probably the best defensive
Ravens
backfield in the
were
league.
definitely
We
better.
sat here at this table, maybe the other room, and we said all three of those guys, White, Poyer, and Hyde, all deserve to be in the Pro Bowl.
You did say
How
that.
can you
I
deny
agree.
that? How can you deny that? Don't you want to keep
'Cause
that?
I just said
and
the
that's the
stats.
problem with Buffalo fans, and I've said this numerous times. They never want to keep anyone. They're never happy. We have positions back there, 3 players.
You're gonna be so
even
mad.
Even Kevin Johnson is okay. I'm okay with Kevin Johnson. I've said on this podcast I want to keep him.
Dave, is it possible that safeties are a dime a dozen?
Would you pay $15 million a year
Why
for
would you want a
Jordan
new-
Poyer?
Why would he want 15 million? We're just making numbers up. We don't know if that's what he wants. Why would you want
Safeties
another
are
hole?
a dime a dozen, Dave.
Why would you want a hole on this defense for no problem?
Does it need to be
Players
a hole?
play well, they deserve to be paid. I don't know his contract numbers, but I would say that he would be in the talk of getting paid.
He's making $13 a year.
I don't think that's true.
4 years, $13 million. Sorry.
No. So, yeah, he's definitely not overpaid. However, I don't want to break the bank for a guy that I believe is 30 coming up.
You don't know if you have to. You don't know if you have to break the bank.
Listen, I don't want to even explore the option.
Who would be better to have on this team, Hyde or Poyer, if you had to choose?
Hyde.
Hyde, he's better in coverage. 100%.
I would not agree. I would say
The stats
Poyer.
would.
Poyer has been
28.
a shutdown safety that we've been wanting for on this team for years.
When's his birthday coming up?
April 25th.
Yeah, so
that's my mom's
by the end
birthday.
of this contract, he will be 30. I don't want to pay over $5 million to a safety. Listen, Denora Cersei, Aaron Williams, Jarris Burt, the safeties that Buffalo spins out are constantly fine. You want to know why? Because safeties are a dime a dozen, Dave.
They're not.
There's a lot of
They're
dime
not
a dozen positions.
There is a lot of dime a dozen positions, and that's why you see the
You know,
average contract.
We had Dante Whitner who got 100 tackles a season,
terrible.
but he was still garbage.
Yep.
That's a stat, though. You look at that, and that's a stat that everyone looks at and like, oh, he's
Jordan
dominant.
Poyer literally
had-
gets 100 tackles
You
a
had
season.
Jarius Bird. You had Jarius Bird out there getting interceptions like crazy. People were talking defensive MVP because they're dumb.
Well,
And
was
he
top
went to
three.
another team and did nothing.
He's top 3 in
A
voting.
player
Won a
like
Super Bowl.
Poyer is a dime a dozen that you can't have. He's someone you need to keep.
He is a dime a dozen.
He's someone you need to
He's a
keep.
diamond.
Listen,
dozen.
anytime that you have a safety that
And,
gets 100
and he's a
tackles, you're in a
two-time diamond
bad...
winner. You're right.
I don't know if he's a 2-time diamond winner.
All right, him and Hyde both shared one.
That one time they almost had two
that an outlier?
diamonds.
Yeah. Don't worry, they didn't see that.
Listen, I'm just saying I wouldn't break a bank for a safety, especially a safety that isn't that great in
So you'd
coverage.
have another hole to fill.
Yeah, for
And
absolutely.
And you don't
because
have anyone on this team right now that could replace him.
I'm not saying
Saran
cut him.
Neal.
I never said cut him.
Saran Neal's more of a nickelback.
No, not necessarily. Plays corner.
I didn't say cut Jordan Poyer. I said I'm not going out of my way to pay him gobbles of money to Jordan Poyer.
And what kind of message does that send players like White or Edmonds or people like Milano who want to be paid?
Just pay him. You don't need to send a message.
I don't agree, and that's where the fans come in to tell us whether they agree with me or him. Sorry.
Listen, right now the fans are going to agree with Jordan Poyer. Listen. If I didn't need to die on this hill, I would say that yeah, let's keep Jordan Poyer. But also, I need this team and this whole roster to progress more than just being a good defensive team, because since the 2000, the turn of the century here, we haven't had a lot of defensive dominant teams win Super Bowls. That's just the facts. Look at the Patriots, one of the top defenses in the league this year. Couldn't even make it out of the wild card round. That was the number one defense this year. And then you have the 49ers. Look at them in the Super Bowl. They capped out at a certain point in points and then couldn't get over the hump. And now look at them. A team that was just lost in the Super Bowl. Let's talk about bringing in Tom Brady. Quarterbacking and points scored matters in the NFL. No one cares about your defense. I'm not paying more and more money into a defensive tackle or a safety. It's time to start bringing in assets for the offense to score. And listen, if 19 points is the ceiling for this Buffalo Bills team, then it's time to reevaluate the whole thing.
You need to keep good players, not fill more holes. And Poyer is a good player.
How many holes do you think this team has right now?
We actually have quite a bit. Like I've said, we need 2 slots on the defensive end. We have a veteran leadership with Lorenzo Alexander, who's gone.
Trent Williams had 5 sacks in the
We don't have a
last
starting cornerback next to
3
Trey
weeks
White
of the
right now
season.
because they haven't signed anyone yet. Kevin Johnson is hopefully out there. You have a guard in Spain who isn't signed. You just have holes that are out there that are very real. And at the same time, we have players that need to be extended. Or you're going to run into problems like this. And I have complete faith that Bean knows what he's doing. But I'm saying, why create more holes or more problems when you don't need them?
You're
just
talking
because
about
Rachel
upgrading
Bush
players.
goes on Twitter, shows her ass cheeks, and wants to bitch about Poyer making more money.
What a terrible take. I don't know why you guys are so brought up on this Rachel Bush thing. Stay on
y-
Jordan
you're the
Poyer.
one that
I was
brought it
just
up.
asked about it.
You guys are just like throwing her
Wait,
under
why
the
am
bus.
I
I don't know.
roped into that?
I don't know. Why did she brought up at all?
Because Dave asked what
I
happened.
asked. The fans need to know what was going on.
Why? Yeah, but he tweeted. Why are you guys going after her?
Stop saying you guys.
You mentioned Rachel Bush.
Because I was asked specifically to explain it.
I want
Explain
to
what?
know about Rachel Bush.
Stay on task. He tweeted. Show his tweets.
No, she tweeted.
No, he tweeted many times.
Yeah,
Say-
they all
saying
tweet a
what?
lot.
You said yourself. She tweeted.
I don't know what she tweeted. I barely know who
And
Rachel
that's
Bush
why
is.
I told you, and that's false.
Who's Rachel Bush?
You know who she is. Don't give me that. Oh, see how
We
he's
should just make
laughing?
this a Rachel
Is
Bush
she related
podcast.
to George?
Oh, look at that. That smile. You know who she is.
I have no clue. Listen, the bottom line
I'm
here
done
is
talking about Bush.
we need to stop posting into this thing about
Nice.
defensive players. We got to work on the offense. I don't think that's anything to be too crazy about.
Well, in your opinion, who is your most...
What a ridiculous waste of time that whole thing was.
Start over.
Yeah, let's start the podcast over. You're listening to Mad Men Sports,
Dave,
presented by Diamond.
I
You
don't
look
think it was a waste of
frustrated.
time. I think it was a good topic to talk about because Zach was wrong and I was right.
No, you're not. There's literally stats, multiple stats.
That's
showing.
your opinion, man.
No, the stats aren't opinions. That's what's wrong with your
You
generation.
sat here and told me Poyer isn't. We need an upgrade over Poyer. But my generation?
Yeah, you think global warming's fake, don't you?
No,
Your
I'm
stats
a big fan
supporting
of
it.
icebergs. I'm not saying global warming's
not
fake.
the lettuce, though. There's some problems with the iceberg.
That's the
lettuce.
problem with your generation is you do think stats are opinions. Stats are facts.
Jesus
This is a fact.
Christ.
You're a dumbass. How about that?
Jesus.
Hey, everyone's entitled to their bad opinions, but the stats don't say I'm. a
Jake, what's
dumbass.
next?
Oh my. Well, just to kind of wrap that, whatever that was, up, I'm gonna put a poll up on YouTube. If you go to our page and click on the community section, you'll be able to find it. I'm gonna ask, who won that argument? Diamond Dave?
Thank you.
Or Zach?
If I lose the argument, I will sit here and white Peter next week on this podcast.
Oh my God! Even if you agree with Dave, please vote for Zach.
I'm gonna make 8 different emails to make sure that I vote for Dave because no one wants to see that. I want my views. I don't want our views to tank. Your generation's terrible, David.
What's next?
Next topic.
So we spent
Want
a
me to
lot of
present that? I can bring it.
yeah. If you want,
Yeah.
you take control.
All right, so
The
the draft's
professor.
coming up. If you guys haven't noticed yet, the draft is
It was
coming
a
up.
power move.
Towards the end of April, April 25th. Here's the big deal. We are going live the first round of draft night. We're going to do our draft game. We will have the description, have
Can I
details
get the
about
date
it.
on that night, Jake?
I believe it's April 25th.
Can I get the actual, like, real... I gotta take off work.
You should know this as a person who has a podcast.
No,
Sorry, guys, I run a restaurant.
April
so I have a lot
23rd.
going on.
April 23rd to the 25th.
I will be off that night. You will get Diamond Dave on this podcast.
And a wife beater.
And a wife beater, probably, because he's terrible at takes. But listen, everyone's got mock drafts out there. Everyone's doing the Draft Network. Everyone's doing the firstpick.com. Everyone's looking at NFL.com's 15th mock draft of the week. You know, this, that, and another thing. We decided to just take a very logical approach on this whole thing. We need to make a draft funnel for the Buffalo Bills. We're just going to take the whole roster, all the positions, and just go through them and say, how do we need to get to our best team here? Dave thinks we need to draft a safety in the first round, apparently. Or never touch it again. I don't know. There's so many bad takes in one little 15-minute segment there. I don't know how to lead that off. But listen, just take the whole roster, and we're going to funnel it down to at least 3 positions, and then maybe we'll talk about those positions. So let's get to it. This is the Mad Men Sports NFL Buffalo Bills Draft Funnel. So, Dave, let's kick it off right here. Do we need to add to the quarterbacks in the first round?
No.
No, Jake, would you agree with that?
In the first round, unless we're moving up for Joe Burrow, no.
Would you take Joe Burrow over Josh Allen right now?
I think so, yeah.
No.
Dave's a big Allen stan. Good for him. Now let's go to running back. This is a point where we all probably agree where we have to, upgrade in the first round, I imagine. Or not in the first round, but in the draft.
Sure.
But I don't think a first round running back is where we need to go. Would
No.
you take any of these running backs in the first round if you're the Bills?
No. With Devin Singletary, I'm happy with what we have. And I mean, fuck it. If you really want to upgrade, look at Melvin Gordon.
You really want Melvin Gordon that bad in the free agency?
I also
No.
want Melvin Gordon. I said on 2 podcasts ago when I actually had the flu that Melvin Gordon will be our guy in free agency.
I said, if we're looking to upgrade, take a look at
There's
Melvin
nothing wrong
Gordon.
with having 2 running backs. In the draft, do I think the Bills will take one? I think they'll take one in later rounds, maybe 6th or 7th. Maybe
Absolutely.
for competition for Yeldon.
Yeah, I think even just bringing a speeder back to kind of go through it. But the first round, we can cross that off the list. Center, we have the highest paid center in the league. I don't think they're going to go backwards on those assets. Guard, might be a
It's
hole
worth
there,
the
right?
discussion. They have not signed Spain, who played every single game last season.
Free agency also hasn't started yet.
Free agency also hasn't started yet. There are some guards. Bills are at a tough spot in the draft right now where there's going to be a lot of top positions available at the position they're at. I don't think it's going to be guard, but I think that's worth the discussion at least.
I could see them going after Spain or bringing in another, an additional piece to this offensive line because I do think they have some movable parts. Jake, would you agree?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with our interior line. The exterior is a different story. But
Yeah, let's kind of jump over to that. Left tackle, we're probably happy with Deion Dawkins still.
yes.
But right tackle, there's some upgrades that could be had, correct?
Yeah, especially, well, we have Ty Inseki. He is a very versatile player.
Think they bring him back?
Yeah, I would say so.
He's 34, I believe, right?
Yeah, obviously not on any
Yeah,
substantial
I think
contract.
a one-year deal might be
If
able
he's
to bring
asking
him for a camp
for
body, right?
any sort of money, no. But
Maybe
it's good to have
nothing guaranteed, though.
Yeah.
Could bring him in
He's
for a
in
camp
no
body.
position to be asking for money. He was pretty much out all last season.
not all last season.
If he asked for a run-it-back contract, same deal, 1 year, kind of a prove-it-me deal, kind of get in here, rotate into the position, see what you can do in camp. I wouldn't be against it.
No.
We could also bring in Adrian Waddle. I'm not he never really had a fair shot with his injury. Bring him in, see if he can play it out. I mean, those 2 dudes in training camp, every time we were there, giants. Those
Those
guys
are
were
some big
literal
dudes.
giants.
I think the Bills roll with Ford and Dawkins.
I think Cody Ford really needs to light a fire under his ass for me to be confident to not take a right tackle.
So before we dive into this too much, just the right tackle position get through the filter?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, so we'll bring that down through the filter.
As a
We'll
possibility.
have it in the realm of, first round possibilities. I think it'd be hard pressed, but we'll see. It's definitely a position of need.
Yeah, but unless they look at Brian Bulaga as well, then
Yeah, Jack Conklin, there's a lot of action that could be had in free agency. The fact that it needs to be addressed gets it down to the funnel. I agree. The right tackle in the offensive line equation gets that down to the funnel. Tight end, I'm comfortable with what they have. Might even be able to subtract a couple guys there, maybe.
not Lee Smith, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, well,
He stays.
maybe Lee Smith.
He
Definitely,
stays.
definitely maybe. Lee Smith stays on during this regular season. Dave, come on, tight end talk.
No, nothing to say there.
You said something interesting to me earlier about Greg Olson.
I think Greg Olson was more of a favor. I think the fact that the Bills were looking at him makes people think that the Bills want him, but Greg Olson obviously is coming here, and I don't think the Bills are. I think the Bills are happy with Knox. I think they're going to roll probably with Knox, Sweeney, and Kroom. Sorry, Jake. Lee Smith's out.
No, he's not.
Maybe. I like Sweeney a lot, but
Get
we're not
rid of
going to let that slip through the funnel. Though.
Get rid of Pat DeMarco.
All right, so let's wrap up the offense with a controversial position for the Buffalo Bills here. Wide receiver. Do we think that gets through the funnel, guys? It's definitely a
Definitely.
position of contention, right?
Yes, I love what they did at the wide receiver position last year. They
Definitely upgraded.
subtracted who needed to go, added who needed to come. Let's add some more firepower.
I want to be added to that last list.
Come.
Just the firepower. I want more firepower on this offense. As if you guys couldn't imagine enough, the more wide receivers, the better. It makes me happy. Let's get more weapons on this team. Wide receiver slips through the funnel. So out of the offense.
So, well, I mean,
We got
so
two
so
through
we,
the
we
funnel
look
here.
at the wide receiver thing right now. Chances are McKenzie's probably coming back. He's going to get restricted.
probably.
Foster's
Don't go
prob-
too deep here.
Foster's probably. I'm going to get deep. Foster's
to.
probably going to
Deep.
come through training camp. Duke Williams depends whether the Bills are high on him. So you also have Andre Roberts. So there's probably four slots right now filled with the Bills running receiver core with McKenzie, Beasley, Brown, and
Roberts.
Andre Roberts. So I would assume Duke Williams is back. So there's really one position open for a receiver, and that's probably going to be through the draft. I would probably say second or third. I don't know. Maybe through free agency. Maybe the Bills don't touch any rookie. I don't know. Receiver is more interesting than people are giving it credit for because the Bills are a lot more comfortable than we think at receiver.
Before we get you in trouble twice this weekend for getting a little too deep here, let's just let the wide receiver slip through the funnel and let it go through here. So for the offense, we have the right tackle position that needs to be in
that
flux.
power move.
And then wide receiver
I have to
are
agree with
slipping
them
down
there.
through the funnel. Now, I know you guys like this topic. Let's go through the defense real quick.
I don't think it was.
Defensive tackle. I don't think we need to touch it.
No.
David?
No, it's
Diamond
what it
David.
is right now.
Ed
You're
Oliver.
with me, right?
Harrison
There's so much
Phillips.
youth there. Stay away from the defensive tackle. Now, Dave, defensive end. I know you don't like Jerry Hughes anymore. He used to be your favorite player. Don't
I
like him
think in the
anymore.
first 4 rounds, the Bills take 2 defensive ends.
Oh my God! Hot take, Dave.
Not only do
What
I
if they
think
bring
that,
back Shaq
I
Lawson?
want that.
What if they bring back Shaq Lawson?
I don't think Shaq Lawson's coming back. I think Shaq Lawson's going to want too much money that the Bills don't value him that high.
Let's go go ahead and bring the defensive end position down through the funnel, correct?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Absolutely. So, middle linebacker. You hate the youth on this team. Is a 21-year-old middle linebacker
Never
with
said I
100
hated the youth
tackles
on this
good
team.
enough or no?
So we don't have enough veteran leadership on this team. But you guys want to reason that with the 2 old guys being, well, 3. Star,
You don't need
Trent
old
Murphy,
guys
and
for
Jerry Hughes.
leadership.
That's debatable.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
I would disagree with that, David.
Of course you would.
You don't need age to show leadership. Just because
Andrew Luck was the leader in that locker
He was
room
the
since
quarterback. The
day
leader should be the
one.
quarterback.
Day one, David.
So he's the Tremaine Edmonds is the quarterback in the defense, not the NFL.
No,
the
he
defense. Well, why can't he just be the leader of that defense now?
Because I don't agree he is.
you don't think?
But,
do you think
but
he's the
after
answer?
last year of Kyle Williams saying that he's the leader and passing it off to him, and then Lorenzo Alexander solidifying it, the 2 leaders for the last 2 years.
Last 2 years, so you just said it yourself. Kyle Williams is the leader.
Absolutely.
Lorenzo is the leader.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, Tremaine Edmonds could be the leader.
And
we
then
don't,
they
we
pass-
don't know that
and then
yet.
they pass the torch to a
you're-
guy.
You're just giving your opinion saying that's what it is now. You don't know. It
I'm
might
not
be
giving my
Poyer,
opinion.
it might be Hyde, might be Trey White. You don't know if it's Tremaine Edmonds.
They know it's Tremaine Edmonds.
They want
They've all
it. They
said
want it to be Tremaine. I want it to be Tremaine Edmonds. The
No, you
coaching
don't.
staff.
You want it to be a
the
40-year-old
front
guy
office
that needs
wants
a
to be
walker
Tremaine
after
Edmonds. You
video
can't
games.
just give it to someone and say, "Here, you're the leader." Someone has to grab the brass ring, take it by the balls, and be the leader. You don't know if he is yet.
I
You
don't
can't
know,
just say he
I
is.
definitely don't know if you know what a leader is.
How about
After
outside
the brass
linebacker?
ring and balls.
I do know what a leader is. You don't just make someone a leader and say you're a leader. They have to earn it. They have to be the
Yeah.
leader.
So speaking of Lorenzo Alexander being gone, do we need an outside linebacker?
Yes.
I think we need to address that heavily, correct?
Not really. I mean,
think
you have
that'll
But
be
we
it.
need to address it in the spectrum.
Yeah.
So we're just looking for team needs now. We're gonna get to the first round next
Oh.
layer of the funnel.
then sure. Then you'll
But yeah, we
have
need
to
to get
take
at
a
the
look at
outside linebacker. Correct?
replacing Lorenzo Alexander. Yes.
Absolutely. Now, Dave, safeties. Do we need to upgrade the safeties at all?
No, I'm fine with the safety.
He
And you
loves
should
them.
be too.
Hey, you know what, man?
If
So
you
am
were,
I.
if you were, I'm not shaking your hand.
If I was a Bills fan,
If you were a Bills fan, you'd be happy with the safeties too. And you know what? We had this discussion earlier in the last
love
off
blanket
season
statements.
when we talked about. I got it, Jake. We talked about receivers not being good enough. I hear you on the safeties. Why settling? But the safeties on this team are some of the best in the league.
are they? Because they haven't proven that in the stats.
Again, I'm going to throw that computer out the window.
What?
Who
No.
hates stats? Diamond Dave hates stats. Make it a
Stop.
T-shirt.
Why is it about me?
You sit at home. You just tell me stats all day.
Yeah.
I watch the games and I know what a good player is.
Oh wow, Dave hates analytics. Man,
John Brown. What did you?
I'm setting my ways. He's an anti-analytic guy, aren't you? You need to have a feel for the game.
He loves sabermetrics.
He does. He's bad at looking at him. He hates it.
Cornerback.
Cornerback. I think we need to upgrade our second cornerback because at the day, right now, we only have Levi Wallace as a restricted free agent right now. So yeah, cornerback can break through. So here we are, the funnel. We've breaking it down to what do we have here? 5 positions.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's take these 5 positions of need and decide if we need to address it in the first round. I feel like that's fair.
Sure.
Right tackle, Dave, first rounder. I don't know if we need to do that.
No.
We definitely need to address it, but I don't know if that's a first round need.
It might be a free agency type move.
I think so too, man. Conklin or Bulaga or a way cheaper option than just Waddle or Naseki. Those guys.
I don't even think you need to spend that much.
Exactly. There we go. That's a good take, Dave.
You guys agreed on something.
That's a good take.
First time in
I'm not agreeing
a
with you.
month.
I'm not agreeing with him. Give me a first round right tackle. Trade up for him.
First round overall.
Receiver, I
First
do
pick.
find important, but as I broke down in a realistic matter, we have probably 5 receivers on this team that are probably going to stay on this team.
That you don't think you could upgrade with a first round pick? I think we could upgrade Albert
think they-
Foster, Isaiah McKenzie.
I
The only
think-
one you're
I
not
think you're
really
right.
upgrading is
Well,
Cole
Fos-
Beasley and John Brown.
In my eyes, Foster's not on this team. In my eyes, McKenzie probably will be on this team because he's probably going to be perfect for the fourth.
Careful. Objects may be closer than they appear. Dave also didn't think John Brown was going to make this team on day one.
And that's true. And I've
talent
eaten my crow.
evaluator.
I've eaten everything I had to eat for that.
through it 2 weeks ago. There are so much dollars, free agent dollars, that were tied up last year into 2 guys. It's time to get a value contract. Now, I know first rounders aren't necessarily value contracts. It's time to start looking through the draft for longevity's sake and value's sake for a talented wide receiver. Your buddy Albright Knox said on Twitter this week,
Benjamin Albright?
that he wanted to
The architect called you out.
to
No.
look
That's
into.
Frank Lloyd, right?
Albright Knox is.
Listen, that the Bills were looking into the whole situation of T. Higgins. All of college football season last year, loved T. Higgins. I love his size. I love his base. I love his speed. Honestly, they used him in a lot of Isaiah McKenzie packages at Clemson. Clemson's a very good team. They have a good wide quarterback. Usually when you get a good quarterback, you get to kind of see the weapons around him enhance themselves as well. The bottom line here is
He was someone.
I do like the idea of a wide receiver, maybe Henry Ruggs, maybe C.D. Lamb if he falls in a ridiculous thing, maybe tanks his draft
Justin
stock.
Jefferson.
Yeah, there's so many guys out there that in the first or second round, I would like to see them take a swing. I'm a big Michael Pittman fan, but I don't think they need to go after him instead of T. Higgins. I would be okay with a T. Higgins first pick. So I do think wide receiver can break down into the next level of the funnel. Now defensive end, Dave, die on this hill, buddy. You want to go after a defensive end? Espinenza?
There will be 2 defensive ends in the top 4.
So do you think they'll be at the
defensive end on this
22?
team is a need
Top 4 for the Bills or top 4 of the NFL?
for the Bills?
That's good. Hey, now tell me why.
I have numerous times.
Do it again right now.
We have 2 older guys. We need to start building the younger talent. And we also need some pass rush on this team that we don't have. There's no one on this team that scares opposing teams.
Would you, no, forgive me, would you pull your hair out if they put a first-round pick into the defensive ends here?
Would I pull my hair out?
Yeah.
No, I'd be happy. I'd be giddy.
That's ridiculous. How could you want them to spend another asset on a defensive team that's already top 3 in the league? How much better do you want this defense to carry this offense until you understand the offense is
continue to
inept?
be good. I want the offense to build. I want Josh Allen to build how good the offense is.
He's not going to be able to do that.
We have talent on offense.
He's not going to be able to do that alone.
We have enough talent to score an average of 19 points a game.
They don't have talent on offense.
That's true.
They have
Josh
enough
Allen-
talent on defense.
Josh Allen didn't. You want to keep the defense talented, Zach. We're losing
Absolutely.
all over the place on defense.
Where? We're not the Patriots. The Patriots are losing 6 starters on defense this year.
We don't have a starting
That's so
cornerback.
nice.
We don't have an outside linebacker. And we don't have a pass rush. So the defense, you need to keep going. You're slowly dwindling on defense.
You're not slowly dwindling.
You
on
have
defense.
White. You have Milano. You have the 2 safeties that I love, obviously. You have Ed Oliver, the defensive tackles.
Seems like we're not.
You have
dwindling.
pieces. You need a complete piece, though. We need to keep that going.
I disagree.
You don't need to put more into a defensive end.
Go all offense.
You
Spend
guys
that
can
90
Pinto Rodney
million.
on the live stream if they take a defensive end on draft night.
Spend $80 million
With
on
hot
just
sauce.
offense.
Pinto Rodney
I don't
with
know who
hot
Pinto
sauce.
Ron is.
Oh,
Spray hot sauce and blue cheese all over me on draft night.
I
If
wouldn't
they
waste
take a
something that
defensive
delicious
end.
on you.
Yeah. Okay, buddy. All right. Listen, if they take a
yeah.
defensive end, I'll be so mad. I'll be so mad. But
Will you take a walk?
No, I only take a walk on important picks. Outside linebacker or something that broke through the funnel here. Do we take in a first round offensive line or outside linebacker? Excuse me.
No.
Doing that.
No.
I think unless Isaiah Simmons is going to be there at 22, you're not touching outside linebacker. That guy's a stud. Clemson, he run like the 4.3 40. Ridiculous. Cornerback guys, I could see them going after a first round corner.
Yeah, you need to kind of replace in the event. I mean, Levi Wallace isn't going to be here forever.
I would like to see Kevin Johnson back, but we also cornerback is important. I don't know if it's first round worthy, but it is important. We do need one.
Yeah, I mean, you might want to invest a lot in cornerback because, I mean, the Trey White deal isn't signed. Do we really know that he's coming back? Do you really know that a contract's going to be finalized?
I'm okay with not addressing it that deeply right now.
I don't think that'll be an issue. He deserves it. He's going to get it. Beans even said himself he deserves money.
I mean, I'm not saying that he doesn't, but, I mean, if they can't come to numbers.
Listen, Dave may be a hard guy to come with on numbers with this one,
Cool.
but I definitely think that the Trey White deal will happen eventually. So defensive end wide receivers really will rely on this. I thought we'd get more action on the cornerback, but guys, I really think we're beating a dead horse with this whole Levi Wallace, Kevin Johnson thing. There's not enough talent out there. They're more valuable here than they are anywhere else.
Jake, can we make a poll asking fans, the great fans that we have, what is more important on this team right now? A pass rush or a receiver?
Do that on Twitter right now.
Can you do that, please, Jake?
I'll do it on Twitter.
Yeah, let's do that right on Twitter. Podcast debate.
Tell the fans we're in a heated debate.
Heated podcast.
And we're also
debate
running a
right
lot
now.
of overtime here.
Hey, and I said it was gonna be a long podcast. Bad takes entice bad podcast or bad takes. Listen, it's just gonna be as easy as that. Wide receiver, defensive end. What are you taking in the first round? I don't think. Driving me nuts on this one. So thank you for listening, guys. It's been a great week. It's been a long week.
Give us your opinion.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the show this week. There's a lot going on. Leslie Frazier upgrade, DJ Reader rumors, T. Higgins rumors, and then we did our draft funnel.
As soon as news breaks, we'll be here to tell you.
Sorry we got a little heated, but also that's the passion that Mad Men Sports brings every week. Presented by Black Button Distillery and Prima Pizza Pasta. I hope you guys have a great week. I think there will be news this week. I know Dave always is way off base with it, but I think this week there will be news. Maybe a re-signing happening. I don't want to say that I have a source, but I also have a source. So hope you guys enjoy. Keep listening. Have a good week.
Why are you just bringing up your source at the last 10
Take care
seconds
and
of
have
this
a great
podcast?
night, guys. Bye.
You jerk.